Welcome to another edition of the NSCAC Behind the Bench presents. Today we have Larissa Mills with us. She's the founder and CEO of the Mental Game Academy. Larissa, welcome. It's usually a lot more
Thank you.
simpler and much easier flow. Today, I think we just wanted to change it up leading up into the Thanksgiving weekend. Make it a little bit exciting for everybody.
Yep. So I can't see the slides anywhere.
Okay,
right?
So I'm going to share the slides right now. Okay.
Okay. But I can just like go. So anyway, I'm going to introduce myself. Yes, I'm Larissa Mills. I'm a cognitive behavioral sports specialist. What does that mean? It means essentially I study how the brain learns when we are watching or using excessive phone use. It could also mean we are watching too much video, or we're watching too much short video. Our brains are staying up late on social media. Our brains are staying up late on different parts of tech. I had the screen, but I think we lost it there. I don't have a slide screen, but
is that better?
Oh yeah, that's perfect. It's yeah. So essentially what we do here is we equip the athletes with mental skills because they have been on phones for 22,000 hours by 16. So all of you, I work with different parts of the Canadian program in soccer, parts of the Premier League in the UK. And what we're finding is by 16 is this prime age where, kids are ready to go out there, but they're missing something. And they have been missing their mental skills and gaps in their emotional development, and they're behind. There's no other way to say it. Not just because of phones, but it's because of the time spent on phones. So if you want to just scroll up there, Larissa, a little bit further. I had to give you a different slide deck, so we'll have to go up and play around with this a little bit. But there's like the next one. Yeah, sorry, this is not the actual deck I wanted to use, but it was the quickest one I could email them. But essentially today, you as coaches have so many more concerns than you did 30 years ago. It is not the same coaching. If I were to ask you in the audience and ask you, what are your coaching concerns? You would tell me my top 10 would be parents, athletes' different behaviors, and the barriers those cause. You love coaching soccer and football. I know that. But the barrier that we are challenged with today is behavior and where the brain is in development. So you may have a 16 or 20-year-old on your team. I just worked with different teams yesterday in the NHL. I can tell you, the younger the brain, the more behind it is in terms of development and in terms of focus, in terms of attention, in terms of problem solving, because they've been on phones 6 hours a day watching instead of 6 hours a day doing. And those are essentially your barriers. So if you would want to scroll up there, Larissa, just the one. So essentially this is, actually this number is older. The average is 24,000 to 30,000 hours an athlete is on their phone. And so when you come to meet and teach this athlete, this incredible being, well, they're not paying attention, and you have to repeat what you're saying multiple times. And that is frustrating, but also it's an ongoing concern. This is not going to get better unless phones are away, unless kids can get off phones and kids can learn how to mentally think. Right now, I bet you when you tell them something, they're either crying or quitting. That's usually what it is, or they're denying. I call it the different INGs. They're going to deny they do something and they won't apply what they're doing and execute it in terms of the game. So this is Roy Allen Birch. We work with him with a bunch of swimmers, and they were getting out of the pool and checking their phones. They were like, this is a while ago before COVID. And he was getting frustrated because he's like, you know what? I coach them and then they just get out. He's like, no. I'm like, no, they don't get out of the pool. Put the phones in a bag. Have phone protocols for your teams. We do that for different teams. We'll come in and work with soccer clubs all over. It doesn't matter. Portugal, US, Sweden, it doesn't matter, because phones and the behavior that they cause or lack of skills is your main barrier right now. If you can scroll up to that little chart there, Valerio. I'm going to show you what happens to the brain. So essentially on just 2 hours of phone time, but yeah, there's just a diagram there. Just go back to the bubbles. Can you get to the bubbles? There's like bubbles like on a chart. So just go back. Yeah, that one. So in 2 hours of phone use a day, thanks. 2 hours of phone use a day, our kids are going to suffer. They suffer because I even have kids who are 14 staying up till midnight or 1, and they're on their phones in their bedroom. And then you wonder why they can't get up, and they're moody and they can't focus. This is a cycle. We call it the toxic cycle of athlete entrapment, where they're there, and it's just a downward cycle. Now, not only is it going to affect their injuries, not only is it going to affect their attention in that practice, but the NCAA coaches that we have just surveyed are very concerned about the fact that none of their athletes want to be captain. They are too afraid to be highlighted, too afraid to be on a stage, don't want to be corrected, don't want to have conflict, and they don't have the skills to manage it. Now, some of them do, but 30 years ago, you wouldn't have seen this. You wouldn't have seen this at all, right? I'm worried about these two bubbles on the outside. So this bubble here, decrease in confidence, directly affects the brain and performance, because if they scroll, just 30 scrolls, that's it, their brain goes negative in terms of its wiring, and now they're here, and here they sit. And then they go to practice or they go to school, more negative, more touching of the phone. And essentially think about your brain being attached to your nervous system, and every time you touch your phone, you're ticking it off. And at the end of the day, your brain is kind of done. And it's had so much dopamine that it's kind of dopey. It doesn't want to think and it's moody. And that's essentially the cycle that's happening. But it affects that confidence bubble, which we all know in psychological performance. If a child has confidence but not as much skill, they're even going to outdo the kids with the exceptional skill. Confidence plays a key role in the identity of the athlete. And I've seen athletes go out there and completely become fierce. And when we are in beast mode, which is green, on our traffic light of emotions, and we teach the kids how to get from red to green, yellow to green, all on their own in 10 skills. And they know, I got 9-year-olds doing this program. I have 30-year-olds doing this program. And the 30-year-olds do pick it up faster than the 9-year-olds. But once the 9-year-olds do it in their own little brain, they're kind of like, wow, I feel like I have superpowers. I'm like, exactly. So every age can do this. I'm worried about this bubble here, though. This fear of failure, this fear of making mistakes is from the projection on their virtual world. They're obsessed with their virtual worlds. And it doesn't translate into the real world, into your coaching world, right? So essentially, this fear of making mistakes is because everyone's posting all these perfect things, these perfect photos, these perfect moments, and they're not. They're not perfect moments. So they go on or online and they compare themselves. They think, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not, oh, look at their reel, look at their kick's better than mine, their passing's better, but oh, they have better equipment than me. Boom. We just went into yellow on our traffic light, and you cannot play in yellow. And I distinctly recall a few of the players during World Cup, they were saying they don't go online, they don't touch their phones because it makes them agitated and kind of have brain fog and doubt themselves. That is exactly what phones do to our brains. And as an athlete who, well, let's just say if you're paid on contract, you got to perform, right? So can you just go up maybe, I think it's 1 there, Valerio? And just, yep. Yeah, oh yeah, go down to 5 ways social media impacts the brain. And we'll go to that slide 1 there. So I'm going to talk about sleep first. On that slide there, I think it says sleep and the tips for sleep. There are 5 ways in which social media impacts the body. Sleep, brain chemistry, self-esteem. It creates addiction and bad habits. And then it actually preys on the decision-making in the brain where the hippocampus is. And here's the scary thought. Dr. Linda Spallini from Italy, but she works with McGill University. She is doing a study and has already published a study, a very valid study, on the more we have short video watching and the more years that kids have done it, their hippocampus is actually shrinking. Well, if you're an athlete, you need it to get bigger.
make our home proud of us. We will shine bright like the sun and have all of the fun. Whoa, oh, whoa.
Hi, my name's Joseph Benedictus, and the song you've been listening to is written by myself. It's called Feel the Game, and it's based on the game of soccer, basically. I got the inspiration from, you know, all the peaceful, how much peace soccer brings to the world. Like, I've known many people who've gone to World Cups in the past, and they've said that it's just an incredible atmosphere with how the cultures mingle with each other peacefully here, and you know, it spreads a good message about how great soccer is, not just in the actual game, but the actual atmosphere and interaction between fans, different teams, and culture. So I hope this song will go a long way to teach people that soccer is great in so many different ways. And here is the rest of my song, Feel the Game.
Whoa!